Would you rent a motorhome for $9,000? And I mean $9,000 a night. It has a private cinema on the second floor, 30 seats, full screening capability, the kind of room you would find in a boutique film club in the middle of a major city, sitting on top of a vehicle that drove itself to the campsite and then unfolded a second story above the first one. Will Smith lived in it on location for two major film productions. Sylvester Stallone is the reason he found it. And the vehicle itself runs on 22 wheels because apparently that is what it takes to carry everything inside it. That motorhome is number 9 on this list. By the time we reach number 1, we will have passed through a New Zealand design that rotates its entire living cabin sideways when it parks. A vehicle that leaves the road and drives directly into a lake, a German motorhome carrying a Bugatti Chiron in a hydraulic garage built into its sidewall, and a Chinese vehicle with 2 floors. OLED glass walls that become a television, a walkout balcony, and a working elevator that costs less than half of what most of the other vehicles on this list charge for their living rooms alone. 9 motorhomes, 9 completely different answers to the question of what a vehicle is allowed to become when the people building it stop asking whether something is reasonable and start asking whether it is possible. Before we get into it, hit the like button right now. These videos take serious research and production to put together, and every like directly helps this reach more people who would love this content. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you are there when the next one drops. Let us count down. Number 9 is where we begin with Hollywood, and Hollywood does not do anything quietly. Sylvester Stallone had seen what Anderson Mobile Estates could build. When Will Smith needed a home base during the production of Men in Black 3, Stallone pointed him toward one company and one company only. Will Smith listened. He spent $2.5 million on a vehicle called The Heat and then lived in it on location for both Men in Black 3 and The Pursuit of Happiness. The Heat runs on 22 wheels. Moving down a highway, it presents as a large premium trailer, impressive enough to register, not so extraordinary that you pull over and stare. Nothing about the exterior prepares you for what happens when it stops. 8 hydraulic pistons activate simultaneously. The entire roof of the vehicle lifts. A complete second floor unfolds from above. What arrived as a trailer is now a 2-story structure. And the second floor is a private cinema. 30 seats, full projection capability, the kind of room you would expect to find in a dedicated film venue in the center of a major city, now sitting on top of a vehicle parked in whatever production lot the crew called home that week. The ground floor features $300,000 worth of custom leather covering every surface. The bathroom alone costs $25,000 to construct and includes a glass door that turns completely opaque at the press of a single button. Not frosted, not tinted, fully opaque, instantly, on demand, in under a second. The Heat is currently available for rental in Elgin, Texas at $9,000 per night. For anyone who wants to understand from the inside what $2.5 million of motorhome actually delivers, that is the price of admission. Number 8 spent 11 years being designed, not 11 months, 11 years. Most automotive manufacturers complete an entire new model generation in less time. The team behind the Roma T8 spent that same period working on a single vehicle because they had set a standard at the beginning that they refused to compromise, and 11 years turned out to be the time required to meet it. The Roma T8 comes from New Zealand, which is one of those places where the landscape operates at a level that makes ordinary vehicles feel inadequate to the environment they are moving through. Mountains that appear too dramatic to photograph accurately, coastlines that feel genuinely untouched, fjords that extend beyond what the eye can comfortably follow. When an architecture firm from New Zealand decided to build a motorhome, the question they started with was not what features to include or what price point to target. The question was whether a vehicle could be built that was genuinely worthy of the landscapes of New Zealand, worthy of being parked beside a fjord or positioned at the edge of a mountain range without looking like an intrusion. 11 years later, the answer was the T8. Moving down a highway, it presents as a smooth aerodynamic pod being towed, clean, compact, almost deliberately unremarkable from the exterior. The sealed surface gives nothing away about what is inside or what the vehicle is capable of doing when it stops. Then it stops. In under 60 seconds, the entire inner cabin rotates 90 degrees outward. Not a section of the wall, not a window panel. The complete living space physically turns on its axis. What was a closed traveling pod is now an L-shaped home with a covered outdoor terrace, a folding table, synthetic wood flooring, and side panels positioned to block wind from every direction simultaneously. The windows curve 270 degrees around the interior. Wherever you sit inside the T8, the landscape does not appear in a framed rectangle ahead of you. It surrounds you completely. The co-founder describes it as a vehicle designed to last over 50 years and pass through generations of the same family. At $268,500, it sits in the category of purchases that are less about owning a motorhome and more about acquiring something that will outlast the person who bought it. At number 7, we arrive at a vehicle with a working helipad on its roof. Certified, functional, built to receive an actual helicopter landing on it. 3 engineers who had spent their careers constructing mega yachts founded a company called Furion in 2004. The founding premise was a single question: what would a motorhome look like if the people building it applied the same ambition they had brought to yacht construction? 13 years of development later, they had an answer. They called it the Elysium. 45 feet long, metallic gray, and on the roof a certified landing pad rated to carry a Robinson R-22 helicopter. The owner of this vehicle can fly to it, land on the roof, and descend into the interior below. That is not a marketing claim. It is a certified operational capability built into the standard specification of the vehicle. The roof beyond the helipad divides into 3 distinct areas: a lounge where you can sit outside as the light changes over whatever landscape surrounds you, a 2-person hot tub, and the retractable helipad that folds away cleanly when not in use so the remaining rooftop space stays fully comfortable and accessible. Inside, the yacht origin of the project shows in every decision made. 3 75-inch 4K screens, a fireplace, a wine cellar, a steam shower, the standard of interior environment that a 5-star hotel suite would need to invest significantly to compete with. Furion never listed the Elysium for open sale. Independent estimates place its value between $2.5 and $3.5 million. It exists as a demonstration rather than a product. A demonstration that the question of whether something is possible has a consistent answer when the people asking it are genuinely committed to finding out. Number 6 carries a different kind of credential than anything else on this list. The people behind it do not normally build motorhomes. They build Ferraris. Pininfarina designed the Ferrari 458 Italia. They shaped the Maserati Gran Turismo. When Pininfarina attaches their name to a project, the design world understands that what follows will redefine the outer edge of what the category it belongs to can look like and mean. In 2024, they revealed the AS Future ET, a fully electric motorhome with no combustion engine, no exhaust system, and no engine noise. Moving, the only sounds are the electric motors in the road beneath the tires. Parked, the only sound is the slide-out walls extending and the surrounding world settling into quiet. When the walls are fully extended, the interior opens to 37 square meters. The floor area of a real apartment in Paris or Milan, not a compact space where you navigate carefully to avoid bumping into things. A genuinely livable environment on wheels that drove itself to the campsite. The detail that changes the conversation about off-grid travel is the atmospheric water generation system. The AS Future ET extracts humidity from the surrounding air and converts it into clean drinking water at a rate of up to 50 liters per day. Park this vehicle in a desert environment, run the system overnight, wake up with enough water to drink, cook, and wash without any connection to an external supply, without filling a tank before departure, without relying on any infrastructure that may or may not exist at the destination. The air around the vehicle is the resource. The base stationary version starts at $98,000. The drivable version entered production in 2025. A Ferrari designer building a zero-emission motorhome that generates its own water from the atmosphere is a sentence that should belong in a design brief for something hypothetical. It is in the specification sheet of something real. If you are finding this list as remarkable as it is, hit the subscribe button right now. because the final four vehicles are where the engineering becomes genuinely difficult to process. Number 5 is built for a problem that most people have never had to think about seriously. But for a small and specific group of people, it is a genuine logistical challenge that required a genuine engineering solution. You own a Bugatti Chiron, you want to travel. But traveling with a Bugatti Chiron introduces a set of complications that standard travel planning does not accommodate. The car costs more than most properties in most cities. It attracts attention in every environment it enters, and it was engineered for a relationship with speed that most road trip routes do not provide. Vulner from Germany built the Performance S as the answer. A hydraulic garage is integrated directly into the sidewall of the motorhome. A platform extends outward from the body. The platform provides space for a full-size supercar. A Bugatti Chiron fits on it. A Porsche 911 fits, a Ferrari 458 fits. The car travels inside the motorhome, enclosed, climate-controlled, and protected from everything the road produces until the destination is reached. When the car rolls out onto the platform after arrival, the platform it was resting on immediately converts into an outdoor terrace, furniture, an elevated surface with views, somewhere to sit while the supercar beside you serves as a reminder of how you solve the travel logistics problem. When it is time to move on, the car returns to the platform retracts into the body of the motorhome, and the complete assembly drives to the next location. The interior of the motorhome features a Burmester audio system priced at $55,000 as an independent item before anything else is factored in. The furniture throughout is macassar wood, the material used in private jets and the uppermost tier of yacht interiors. Nothing inside this vehicle was specified on the basis of what it cost. Everything was specified on the basis of being the best available option regardless of what it cost. With the Bugatti included, the complete package reaches approximately $7.7 million. The garage costs more than the living space. That sentence is completely logical in the context of this vehicle. Number 4 is where $3 million begins to feel like a considered and justifiable number rather than an extreme one. Not in isolation. In the context of what $3 million here actually produces. The Marchi-Mobile Palazzo Superior from Austria costs $3 million and takes between 8 and 10 months to complete for each individual customer. There is no assembly line, no batch production, no run of units being built in parallel. When you commission a Palazzo Superior, a team begins building your vehicle. They work on it until it is finished. Then they begin the next customer's vehicle. On a highway, the Palazzo Superior communicates its own nature before the specific details register. The windshield is circular, taken directly from helicopter cockpit design. The rim covers are 36 inches wide, sourced from motorsport engineering. The overall profile suggests a design brief that contained no conventional reference points and no requirement to resemble anything that existed before it. Marchi-Mobile constructed this vehicle by drawing simultaneously from motorsport, aviation, and luxury yachting. Each discipline contributed something the others could not provide. The intersection of all three is where the Palazzo Superior sits. The Sky Lounge is the feature that distinguishes it from everything built at a comparable level. One button. A fully enclosed terrace rises from the roof of the vehicle. It arrives with walls already in position, integrated furniture already placed, radiant floor heating already running beneath your feet. You press one button and a furnished room materializes above you where a flat roof surface used to be. The master bedroom is built around a Hypnos king-size bed. Hypnos is the official bed supplier to the British royal family. The bed you sleep on in this motorhome is built to the same specification as the beds in Buckingham Palace. $3 million, 8 to 10 months, one customer, one vehicle, built by hand from the beginning. That is the Palazzo Superior. Number 3 is where the list takes its most dramatic architectural turn. SAIC is the largest automaker in China. When they decided to enter the luxury motorhome market, they did not look at what European manufacturers had established and work toward matching those standards. They approached the problem from a different starting point. They asked what a motorhome would look like if it was designed with the logic of a building rather than the logic of a vehicle. If floors could multiply if walls could serve multiple purposes simultaneously, if moving between levels did not require stairs. The answer is the Maxus V90 Villa Edition. Moving down a road, it reads as a premium motorhome, well proportioned. Nothing on the exterior communicates what follows when it stops. The hydraulic side extensions deploy first. The ground floor expands to 20 square meters. Heated floors throughout. Smart climate management. Premium materials on every surface. For a vehicle that just pulled into a campsite, this is already a genuinely spacious and comfortable living environment. Then the roof rises. The entire upper structure lifts hydraulically to reveal a complete second floor, not an elevated ceiling, not a storage space you access by climbing. A full second story with tempered glass walls on all four sides, providing unobstructed views of the surrounding landscape from above everything at ground level around it. A walkout balcony extends from the second floor. You step outside and stand above the campsite and everything around it. A mountain range, a lake, a coastline, a forest. You are standing on a balcony on the second floor of your motorhome. The glass walls use transparent OLED technology. When the display is inactive, they are completely clear glass and you see directly through to the outside world. When the display activates, the wall becomes a screen, not a television mounted to the wall. The wall is the television. The surface you look through at the surrounding landscape in the morning is the same surface displaying the film you are watching at night. And then there is the elevator, a fully operational single-person elevator connecting the ground floor to the second floor. It runs quietly. It responds to a button. It is the only working elevator installed in any production motorhome anywhere on Earth. SAIC priced this vehicle at approximately $413,000. The Marchi Mobile cost $3 million. The Vulner with the Bugatti cost $7.7 million. The V90 with 2 floors, OLED glass walls that become a television, a walkout balcony, and a working elevator cost $413,000. That pricing does not just win a value comparison. It changes the question every other manufacturer in this industry now has to answer. And at number 2, we come to the vehicle that drives off the road and into the water and keeps going as if nothing unusual has happened. John Gilliland did not study engineering in a university. He learned in South Carolina by working on tractors and taking mechanical systems apart to understand why they were built the way they were. Eventually, he decided to build a motorhome that could also operate as a fully certified marine vessel, not a vehicle with a boat attached to it. Not something that technically floats if positioned carefully in calm conditions. A production vehicle rated for open water operation that transitions from road to lake without stopping. The Terra wind is 13 meters long and weighs 16 tons. Underneath its exterior is a military-grade aluminum hull built into the base structure of the vehicle itself. When the road ends at the edge of a body of water, the driver engages a marine transmission that redirects the output of a 330 horsepower Caterpillar engine to 2 bronze propellers at the rear. The vehicle moves into the water and continues at 7 knots. While afloat, the interior delivers the quality of a yacht that never required the water to reach its location. Marble floors, teak cabinetry, an 8-jet jacuzzi positioned to face the open water. The environment of a vessel that had spent its life at sea, arrived at the shoreline an hour earlier on its own wheels and decided the water was the next destination. The price sits between $850,000 and $1.2 million. For a vehicle that permanently removes the choice between a road trip and a boat trip from any travel decision you ever make, that number represents a reasonable valuation of the capability. And at number 1, we arrive at the vehicle that began this list, the Ferrari designer's motorhome, the one that runs on electricity, generates its own water from the surrounding air, and opens to the floor area of a genuine apartment in one of Europe's most expensive cities. But now that we have traveled through the full range of what this list contains, the AS Future ET earns its position not just because of the credential attached to it or the individual features it carries. It earns number 1 because of what it represents as a complete statement about where vehicle design goes when the people doing the designing refuse to accept inherited constraints as permanent. Every other vehicle on this list pushed one or two boundaries as far as they would go. The Terra Wind combined road and water. The V90 stacked floors and put an elevator between them. The Palazzo Superior eliminated the distinction between a motorhome and a handcrafted architectural object. The Vulner solved a problem most people will never have by building a garage into a sidewall. Pininfarina looked at the motorhome as a category and asked what it would become if none of the conventional limitations of the category applied. No combustion engine because electricity is the better answer. No fixed water supply because the atmosphere contains all the water you need. No compromise between beautiful design and serious engineering capability, because there is no reason those two things cannot occupy the same vehicle simultaneously. The AS Future ET is 37 square meters of living space that arrived under its own electric power, generates up to 50 liters of drinking water daily from the air around it, produces zero emissions in operation, and was designed by the studio responsible for some of the most beautiful vehicles ever built. The base version starts at $98,000. The drivable production version entered the pipeline in 2025. That is number one. Not the most expensive vehicle on this list. Not the one with the most features stacked on top of each other. The one that asked the most fundamental question about what a motorhome is supposed to be and came back with the most considered and most complete answer. 9 motorhomes. A Hollywood production on 22 wheels with a private cinema on the second floor that Will Smith lived in across 2 film productions. A New Zealand design that spent 11 years in development because the team behind it refused to release something that did not meet the standard they had set. A working helipad on a roof built by yacht engineers who applied marine ambition to motorhome design. A Ferrari designer's vision of a zero-emission motorhome that generates its own water from the atmosphere. A German manufacturer's solution to traveling with a supercar that involved building a hydraulic garage into the side of the vehicle. A $3 million hand-built Austrian motorhome with a furnished room that rises from the roof at the press of a button. A Chinese automaker who added a second floor and a working elevator to a motorhome and priced it below the competition's entry level. And a self-taught engineer from South Carolina who built a vehicle that keeps moving when the road ends and the water begins. If this gave you something to think about, hit the like button and subscribe so you are there for the next one. Now tell me in the comments, if you are leaving tonight in one of these 9 vehicles, which one are you taking and where exactly are you going? I read every single comment. See you in the next one.